faculty on campuses that experience UC's suppression of workplace freedom, including free speech and assembly activities, and in particular, the UC administration's response to the encampments set up last spring. You'll hear about UC's relentless campaign to chill faculty's exercise of their academic freedom and to deter them from teaching about the war in a way that is not aligned with the university's positions. Those positions result from pressure from politicians, donors, alumni, outside organizations, and the regents who have failed mightily in their mandate to protect the university from undue political interference by themselves exercising blatant political interference. Yeah. You will hear how the university has harmed faculty by failing to protect them from physical violence, as well as homophobic, racist, and xenophobic verbal abuse and counter-protesters. And you'll hear how UC has harmed faculty through the use of law enforcement and the violent eviction and arrest of students and faculty from encampments across campuses. Now, in the wake of other labor unions' response to these violations, UC administrators issued overbroad rules preventing faculty speaking with students and colleagues and have pursued disciplinary charges across campus. We will soon hear about the most recent ones at UC Irvine. The timing of this unfair labor practice style is meant to counter the even more restrictive practices on free speech and assembly that UC has imposed at the start of this academic year. These practices include a total ban on encampments, requirement to produce ID when challenged by authorities, and probably a ban on wearing a mask because it might hide the identity of protesters. I can tell you that our UC San Francisco Faculty Association medical and public health professionals are losing their minds over this restriction. First, we're going to hear a briefing. I'm going to just lay out what we're going to think today. First, you'll hear a briefing on the unfair labor process from Noah Zad, UCLA professor of law, read by UCLA professor Graham Blair. Then you will hear brief statements from the chapters egregiously affected by this crackdown. Finally, you will hear a national perspective from Henry Reichman, past vice president of our partner organization, the American Association of University Professors, and also former chair of Committee A on Academic Freedom and Tenure. UCLA Professor Ann Markowitz will run our Q&A, referring questions to CUCFA, the council, relevant chapter representatives, and our AAUP colleagues. Thank you so much. We'll now hear Anna Markowitz.
My name is Anna Markowitz. I'm an associate professor in the School of Education here at UCLA, and I'm going to provide some important procedural information about what this filing is, because not everybody is versed in labor law. I am not a labor lawyer, but a labor lawyer to an unfair labor practice, or ULP charge, is a legal filing alleging violations of labor law, which protects workers' rights to organize and demand change in the workplace. Here in the UC system, faculty are public employees, so we're protected by California's public sector law, the Higher Education Employer-Employee Relations Act, or the HERA Act that you just heard Connie mention. Labor law protections are primarily enforced by administrative agencies rather than courts, and in this case, it is the Public Employee Relations Board, or PERB. So our ULP charge is being filed, I guess, as we speak, with PERB. What does this mean? Well, in essence, we are UC faculty, organized through a set of UC faculty associations, asserting that our employer, the UC, has been violating faculty rights across the UC system. HERA forbids the university from interfering with our rights to organize and to seek change in the UC, to seek change at our workplace, and for retaliating against faculty for exercising this space. This is an important principle in labor, that workers have the right, regardless of their joining of a labor union, in order to advocate for changes in their workplace. So our charge focuses on the violation of our ability to organize for change together, what's known as concerted effort. By violating HERA in the way that the UC did, in the way that my colleagues are about to describe, UC undermined the very reason that people of California want the UC to exist, to be a place of free academic inquiry and expression, where new understanding and ideas are incubated. It prevents the UC from being the kind of institution that serves students, serves the community, and creates a better California. You need to respect the workforce in order to make that happen. In our ULP, we call on PERB and social refugees to be responsible in the same way that a lawsuit might, and demand redress. We're not asking for money. We're not asking for bragging rights. We simply want the protections that were already guaranteed under HERA to be implemented, and for UC to walk back the avalanche of repression that frankly you can display today. I'll now turn to my colleagues to hear more. And the first is going to be a statement from the UC Berkeley Association.
I didn't
Thank you. So Constance Penley again, President of the Council of University of California Faculty Association, reading a statement from our colleagues at the Berkeley Faculty Association. Making our courses relevant and supporting student learning includes being responsive to current events. Yet a spate of UC and campus policies limiting this, banning so-called political advocacy or political indoctrination in the middle of a rapidly growing anti-Gaza war movement is a thinly veiled ban on pro-Palestinian content on syllabi. We at UC Berkeley received repeated messages from our chairs, deans, vice chancellor, chancellor, the UC president, and the UC regents calling on viewpoint neutral history of the Middle East. Despite the peaceful nature of the UC Berkeley encampment, student negotiators observed constant obstruction and intervention into negotiations by UC regents, leading to a near total breakdown of talks with campus administration. At UC Berkeley, the Office for the Prevention of Harassment and Discrimination has been weaponized as a mechanism of harassment itself. Cynical university anti-discrimination oversight infrastructure. Tenured faculty, most of whom are women and people of color who would dare to teach the moment by incorporating lessons on Palestine, have faced unprecedented surveillance of their syllabi by deans and staff members. They've been subject to hours of meetings with investigation teams and invasive evidence gathering practices involving former students being called for witnesses. Faculty are being subjected to stress, disruption of daily life, and mounting legal fees in their own defense against vague accusations made with no evidence presented. These investigations are shrouded in secrecy and completely lack transparency. Now, I hear statement from UC Davis by Wendy Matsumura.
Hi, everyone. I am chairing the statement of UC Davis. The Davis Faculty Association fully supports this UC-wide and local violation. We concur that the faculty rights to teach, speak, and assemble are fundamental to our scholarship, pedagogy, and the mission of the University of California. We all share a workplace. When the UC represses workers anywhere, it undermines all of us. In solidarity, the Davis Faculty Association. Thank you.
Thank you. I got it.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. We will now hear from UC Irvine.
Hi, my name is Natalie Shapiro. I'm an associate professor of English at UC Irvine. The Irvine Faculty Association stands in solidarity with our colleagues and fellow workers throughout the University of California system who demand that the university administration be held accountable for its assault on the rights and safety of students, faculty, staff, and workers throughout the last academic year. On May 15th, UCI Chancellor Howard Gilman authorized hundreds of police officers armed with batons, tear gas launchers, and riot gear to repress a peaceful protest at the Palestinian Solidarity encampment. For hours, the nation watched live stream feeds as riot police beat, hit, and terrorized unarmed students, faculty, and staff. Over 50 faculty, students, staff, and community members were arrested, assaulted, and harassed by OCPD while in police custody. As of yesterday, one Senate faculty and IFA member, as well as one Unit 18 lecturer, have been handed criminal charges at the behest of the UC administration. Since May 15th, several faculty members, the majority of whom are women of color, have been subjected to academic conduct investigations and false claims of engaging in discriminatory behavior. As faculty members, we object to the way the UC has used our names, our faces, and our personal narratives to market itself as one of the most diverse and inclusive academic institutions in the world, all while its chancellors, regents, and president strip away every right and protection necessary for researchers and professors to do our work without intimidation from our employer and the state. At every turn, the university has also refused to listen to demands of students. When students attempted to negotiate a peaceful end to the encampment through negotiations with the Office of the Chancellor, the university suspended them and has refused to lift these interim suspensions so that students might enroll in courses, attend graduation, apply for jobs, and continue with academic studies. Members of the IFA have been subjected to disciplinary reviews, ongoing harassment, and physical assault at campus events. We call on faculty throughout the UC system to stand up against the Regent's ongoing assault on our rights to learn, teach, and work with dignity and without fear. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to read for the UCLA Faculty Association. So the UCLA Faculty Association first filed ULP against the administration on June 3rd, 2024, documenting the various ways the UC interfered with our efforts to create a better workplace. They joined 4 ULP filings that had already been in place by unions representing graduate students, lecturers, and librarians, and of course, asked me as well. So this is not just some one-off, it was a variety of institutions arguing that the UC had violated our ability to call for a better workplace. The charge that we filed then documented several ways that the UC had violated HERO by allowing anti-Palestinian caliber protesters to assault faculty for hours on the night of April 30th. Counter-protesters used pepper and bear spray, fireworks, and projectiles to harm our faculty by calling 3 law enforcement agencies in to forcibly remove and arrest faculty, all while faculty were engaging again in that protected right to advocate and organize on matters related to their workplace, and by attempting to silence faculty from speaking with their students and each other about ongoing protests, including about the UAW strike. These charges are particularly egregious because the administration's unequal treatment of speech at that time. While the UC claimed that these repressive actions were being taken in the name of safety, UCLA at the same time allowed students and faculty to be bombarded day and night by violent images and sounds on a jumbotron that was set up and programmed by an outside group. We filed this amended charge to demand a stop to UC's continued attempts to suppress faculty speech, including arresting and firing covering munitions, as you can see here, at UC faculty, sending disciplinary notices to arrested faculty, and denying professors promotions. These actions demonstrate how rather than suppress their wrongs and recommit to a UC campus as a place where individuals can engage in free speech, academic discussion, and workplace critique, instead the administration has chosen to double down on offensive tactics. In this amended filing, we bring these further charges to the UC and demand that they make whole faculty who were damaged and take steps to allow free speech on campus, including dismantling the police apparatus created last quarter to repress free speech on campus. Thank you. Next up, we're going to hear from Wendy again for UC San Diego.
Hi again. I'm representing the San Diego Faculty Association. We gather here almost 1 year into the ongoing genocide in Gaza, angered that the only response to all of the lives lost due to Israel's relentless assault on Palestinian life is an intensified attempt by UC leadership to claw back the right to protest on our campuses. At UCSC, the Gaza Solidarity Encampment went up on May 1st, 2024, hours after the brutalization of the UCLA encampment as part of a historic student-led global movement to refuse to accept US universities' complicity in genocide. For 5 days, many of our members joined students, staff, and community members in prayer, in learning, and in protest. We were subjected to surveillance by police and by staff who recorded us, photographed us, and passed out intimidating flyers. On May 6, 2024, the first day of Justice in Palestine Week at UCST, Chancellor Pradeep Khosla authorized the entry of over 100 police in riot gear. Armed police were perched atop our student health center to forcibly raid and dismantle the Gaza Solidarity Encampment. We witnessed police physically abuse and violate our students, colleagues, and community members, use pepper spray, and prevent medics from providing assistance. At least 65 people, including 2 members of the Faculty Association, were arrested that day. They were held for many hours and had their belongings discarded. Some had their medication withheld. All face the threat of university sanction after their release for protesting an ongoing genocide that has destroyed institutions of learning, healing, prayer, and shelter in Gaza and historic Palestine. While charges have not been filed by the San Diego County District Attorney, the university-level discipline that Chancellor Khosla and the regents and Michael Drake authorized continued throughout the summer. We offer our full support to our colleagues who are awaiting the results of their university-imposed investigations and reiterate our previous speaker's call for the UC to sort of stop violating, right, all of our rights to engage in protected activities. We join our colleagues at UCLA, again, who filed the original ULP charge in June. Our colleagues at UCSC, who have also filed a separate lawsuit against their administration for imposing unlawful campus bans after the police raided their encampment, and extend our solidarity to 2 faculty members at UCI who learned on Tuesday that they are being charged by the Orange County District Attorney's Office with misdemeanors for protecting their students and for engaging in protected activity. Militarized police, the imposition of bans against encampments, mask bans, and intensified surveillance of pro-Palestinian members of the university community may protect the university's investments and relationships with donors and government funding agencies, but they put the rest of us, all of us, at greater risk. We are living in dangerous times, and the San Diego Faculty Association demands accountability from UC leadership for the irreparable harm they continue to cause for standing on the side of genocide. Thank you.
Now I work at San Francisco. The University of California San Francisco Faculty Association joins this historic UC-wide ULP filing. The University of California has engaged in systematic attacks on our constitutionally protected free speech rights and workplace rights under CURA. At UCSF, we educate health professionals, students to advance health for all people, locally and globally. Our rights to free speech, academic freedom, and to assemble and to discuss our workplace are fundamental to our ability to conduct research, teach, and mentor students in our duties to provide excellent care for all, to eliminate health disparities, and to advance health lives. Now I'd like to invite Hank Reichman to the podium. He is the past American Association of University Professors Vice President, or AAUP Vice President, and a former chair of Committee A on Academic Achievement and Tenure. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm also a professor emeritus of history at California State University, East Bay, and I'm here to place this ULP and UC's reprehensible treatment of protesting students and faculty members in a broader national context. While what happened at UCLA on the night of April 30th and May 1st may be the most egregious example of university-sanctioned violence, and make no mistake, that's what it was. UCLA and the other UC campuses represented here were sadly not exceptional. Last spring, university administrators across the country, faced with a protest movement of a scope unseen for decades, egged on by politicians and improperly entitled donors, turned with a few notable and admirable exceptions toward repression and the violence that inevitably accompanies it. By mid-June, more than 3,100 people had been arrested or detained in over 70 campuses nationwide. On many campuses, Indiana University, NYU, and the University of Michigan are just 3 examples. Faculty members, some supporting the students and their demands, if sometimes critically, others simply advocating free speech rights or seeking to defuse potentially violent tensions, or arrested, often with little or no visible provocation, along with their students. Some were thrown to the ground, cuffed, and beaten. This fall, in a misguided effort to preclude such actions, university officials have enacted, almost always with minimal, if any, faculty and student participation, an alarming series of hastily enacted policies intended to crack down on peaceful protest in ways that inordinately restrict long accepted rights to free expression, free assembly, and academic freedom. These policies, the AAUP has noted, often require registration, demonstrations. Often require registration for demonstration, contest, which because they take previously requiring registration also enables surveillance protest plans, which can discourage protests by groups of minority viewpoints. Many of the latest expressive activity policies strictly limit locations where demonstrations may take place. Whether amplified sound used and types of postings. Rather than stifling expression, the AAUP continued, institutions of higher learning should aim to foster an environment in which faculty, graduate employees, students, other members of the campus community are free to discuss and debate difficult topics inside and outside the class. I should add that may be at times be challenging, but it is far from impossible. To be sure, the conflict over Israel and Palestine evokes visceral passions that can be tough to control. But if any institution can be able to direct those passions toward constructive dialogue, universities should be. One need not support all the demands of protesters nor approve of their predictably heated rhetoric. I, for one, often don't. To support their rights to free and safe expression. Which brings me to a second national trend that provides important context for this unfair labor practice charge. I refer to the rising tide of calls from universities and even for individual departments to embrace so-called institutional neutrality, a call that has found significant support on the UC Board of Regents. Because colleges and universities are devoted to the unfettered search for truth, as institutions there are, to be sure, few controversial topics in which they should take official positions. Indeed, when scholars exercise their academic freedom, it is not the institution's role to weigh in on their choices, but to defend their right to choose. But it is at minimum the epitome of hypocrisy for universities, including the University of California, to espouse neutrality while simultaneously laying their hands on the scale on one side of a dispute. For that is what UC has done. There can be little doubt that a majority of the Board of Regents favors the Israeli government, or at least is willing to accede to the demands of sometimes fanatical and powerful interests that do. Siding with the status quo against criticism, favoring the powerful over the powerless, however, is not neutrality. I can recall when the University of California spent a small fortune to defend the rights of the bigoted provocateur Milo Yiannopoulos to speak at Berkeley after a violent mob attack. Why not extend those protections to UC's own students and faculty? One can acknowledge the difficult dilemma faced by many administrators, trapped between the mutually exclusive demands of protesting students and those of external donors, politicians, and alums, as well as from other students who might feel threatened by some protesters. It is astonishing nonetheless that college and university administrators who have for years touted the importance of safety and care while also championing free speech have in the name of those very values not only sought to silence and punish, but have physically endangered the very students they claim to protect. Punitive responses to protest, even where protest may at times violate the free speech or academic freedom of others, is at minimum inadequate and ultimately will do more to stifle and less to encourage genuine dialogue and debate.
Thank you, everyone. We're now going to be here to answer questions, and Anna is going to help moderate that. And so, but again, thank you all for coming to this today.
Any questions?
Yeah, what specific remedies are the faculty associations looking to get from PERB after these charges have been filed?
The specific remedies are listed in the ULP, so I, won't repeat them all for everybody here. But basically, we're asking them to both remove the charges and the disciplinary sanctions that are being levied against faculty. And one thing that's important about the Faculty Association is that it represents both Senate and lecturing faculty, and so we're looking for them to drop the charges for both groups of faculty. We're also asking them to, in moving forward, allow free rights and free expression on campus, and we're also asking them to ensure that other actions they did to damage individual faculty are redressed. So the ULP lists sort of several faculty by specific grievances. For example, a professor here was denied promotion. We're asking them to redress some of these.
You talked about you mentioned the historic nature of this. I'm just wondering about precedents. The last time this many UC faculty associations got together and coordinated a ULP like this or another similar action.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that question. Yes, we have referred to this as a historic, system-wide Council of University Faculty Associations filing against the University of California. It is historic, though we have had one unfair labor practice charge filing in the past, but it wasn't around the issues today. It was in 1993, and the University of California, in a bit of budget crisis austerity, decided it wasn't going to give merit raises to a third of the University of California faculty. We did file an unfair labor practices lawsuit against the university, and not only did they all, it cost them so much more not to give faculty their merit raises in the first place. But this unfair labor practices charge is historic, and that it's the first time that all the chapters have come together to do a charge around workplace conditions, which certainly, with all the violations of our workplace conditions, which certainly involves all the violations of academic freedom, free speech, freedom of assembly.
Only the second time we've done this, and the first time we've done this around workplace violations.
Okay, what's communication been like with UCOP or the UC Regents in advance of filing this charge?
So, I'm looking at the additional permission, but they are aware of the UCLA charge, and they have sent a written response to the UCLA charge, but this will be they will be informed of the filing today.
How many faculty are represented by the ULP? It's probably a big number.
There are approximately 12,000 University of California professors. The Faculty Association right now represents about 10% of those. But we are all academic senate faculty, who have formed this political arm, of the faculty to be able to do this. What we are doing is, so we are representing all of the members of the faculty associations, but by extension, all of the academic senate faculty at the University of California.
I think the thing I'd add to that, although while several dozen are named specific grievances in the ULP, I think part of the argument of the ULP is that all of us are harmed by the actions that the UC's administration is taking.
How has the faculty association coordinated or communicated it at all with other groups that filed ULP? I know we saw what's been happening with the UAW one, AFSCME has filed one as well.
And UCAFT filed one as well. Do you want to speak to that?
Oh, good.
Yes, our ULP, the Faculty Association's ULP, is being filed in solidarity with our union comrades from OFT, from AFSCME, and from the UAW. So right now, the University of California is facing at least 4 ULP charges.
I would note that we also sort of have to file on our own and based on the grievances of our members. And so while we're certainly in discussion, because it's a common workplace that has led to these violations, we're ultimately, basically offering our, emotional support and care, but we have to also file on behalf of our members.
And what other action have faculty associations considered taking? Have there been discussions of a strike?
No, I don't know what I can't answer for all of the faculty associations. I am a member of the UCLA Faculty Association Executive Committee, and we have not discussed that action yet. But I think for many of us, the question is, what does the UC continue to do into the fall, and how does it respond to the ULP that we file? We're sort of opening the door for the UC to do the right thing through this filing, and we need to see what happens next.
Do you want to talk about the letters that we sent? The letters that we've sent?
We have done some actions like sent letters, for example, on behalf of our lecturing colleagues that were facing discipline, and our UC Senate faculty colleagues who were facing discipline. We're also currently working on the case of an unfair termination of a lecturer. So, we're sort of advocating for rights in these specific instances and trying to redress these specific grounds, but broader action again that the UC decides to do. They notice that we're noticing.
You mentioned the unfair termination of the lecture. Is that here at UCLA?
That's your UCLA.
I was wondering if you could comment specifically on that. Is that the Beth Ribbett term?
We are in support of Dr. Rubé's case, but I don't know if I should comment.
Maybe you could talk to the UCLA Faculty Association chair. We can put you in touch.
Right.
So it's sort of like we're in support, but it's not our main leader.
Yeah, that's all for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone for coming out.